Do you want to have a look at the review? I'll show you. There it is there. I played at 95.8% accuracy. That's Grandmaster standard, right? I played at 95.8% accuracy. And I played with a rating performance of 2,600. My opponent played very well. He played with a rating performance of 84.9%, and he played with a rating. He played with a percentage accuracy of 84.9, and he played with a rating performance of 2,500, which is very strong, right? Not easy to beat 2,500 players, but I had to play at 95.8% to get the win. Do you want to analyse the game with me? Why not? Would you like to analyse the game with me, Arsenal fan Richie? Okay, so we'll have a look. Right, so we're going to start the review. I just want to see. I played one great move. Oh,
Good
and that was the best. That was my exclamation mark move, right? The engine says that's the winning move. Bishop takes knight. But we go back. We just want to see where all the errors are, right? This is the only way you can improve.
Opening with the king's pawn controls the center, and e5. Knight f3 develops the knight toward the center, attacks the e5 pawn, and prepares to castle.
I'm just going to fast forward through the opening until a mistake is made, then we'll try to identify it together.
Knight c6 develops the knight. The Ruy Lopez opening develops the a6, forces the bishop to... Bishop takes c6, captures the knight, and forces doubled c-pawns.
That's right, forces doubled c-pawns. This is called the Exchange Lopez.
D takes c6, recaptures the piece.
And one of the players...
the light-squared bishop to develop.
One of the players
Black has the bishop pair as compensation
shut
for
up,
doubled
computer.
c-pawn.
One of the players that used to like to play this occasionally and use it as a special weapon was none other than Bobby Fischer himself, who was a real fan of the Ruy Lopez opening.
Castling gets the king out of the center. F6 defends the e5 pawn, but slightly weakens black's king side in the east. D4 takes space in the center, attacks the e5 pawn.
This
and
is
allows
all
the dark
theory.
Bishop. E takes d4, open. Knight takes d4, captures the c5, takes space in the center, and attacks the knight.
Here is where I wasn't sure what to play. I knew I had to play
b3,
knight to
retreats
b3.
the attack knight to a queenside square where it controls the c. Queen takes d1 trade. Rook takes d1, recaptures the
This
queen,
is
and takes control
theory.
of the
Up to
d5.
this point, this is theory.
They missed a chance to eventually win material.
Wow. You missed a chance to eventually win material. Bishop to d6. Bishop to c. Bishop e3 is a powerful move. Apparently, that's interesting, isn't it? Knight to a5.
Nice, definitely the right move.
The engine loved this move. Now, you're going to ask yourself, why would John play knight a5? Let me explain it to you. I actually studied this opening after looking at Bobby Fischer's games, and occasionally I started playing the Ruy Lopez and the exchange variation, and started using it as a surprise weapon in Late Title Tuesday. And I would try to beat the odd grandmaster with it, right? You know, like, you've got to be hopeful, haven't you? Anyway, I found that I would play other moves, like in this position here. I found
They missed a chance to eventually win material.
I tried bishop here before, right? Just threatening the pawn, right? But I found
White
that
develops the bishop and attacks the center.
I found that wasn't sufficient enough, right, to get the advantage. When I played this move, the engine told me,
Nice,
it says
definitely the right
knight
move.
there is the best move. And I actually remembered that, right? So I've gone to the chess analysis room before, had a look at the Exchange Lopez, and found that this move is the best move according to the computer, and I memorized it. And that's why I found this move in this game. And that's how I was able to play, because if you don't find the first move, how are you going to find the rest? And that's how I was able to play at 2600 performance. Anyway, he played b5.
They are right on target.
And it's the best move. He's played the very best move. But if we have a look at the evaluation bar, you can see White's got a distinct advantage on the evaluation bar.
You are threatening to eventually win a pawn.
Hold on, what happened? After knight a5, b5.
They are right on target.
I played a4.
Good job. That's what I would have played too.
And the engine said that that's the best move, right? Anyway, he played bishop. He played knight e7.
Attacking the center.
And he's played the very best move on the board. It's amazing, isn't it? So I played bishop e3.
To eventually win a pawn.
And isn't that amazing? So the really super powerful move is knight a3. Wow. Wow. Look, let's have a look at. So I played bishop e3, and I made it's a good move, but it's not the best, right? But after knight e7,
attacking
the best move is knight here.
White develops further.
Now the reason for that is that the knights are absolutely deadly. You're threatening pawn takes pawn. Now, black can't defend with pawn here. He can't defend with pawn there because a rook takes bishop. And if he plays bishop here, well, then you've got, if you play bishop here, then you've got knight there attacking the bishop and the pawn. Well, how does he save the bishop? There's nowhere to go. Isn't it amazing? Just very simple moves, and if you get them in the right order, you can absolutely crush your opponent, even if your opponent's playing at 2500 performance, right? So just remember this. This is the RUY Lopez, Exchange Lopez, and try to remember a little bit of what we're looking at, right? So I played bishop e3.
You are threatening to eventually
But now I can see that the engine's told me knight a3 is better. So if I get this position again against a grandmaster, I'm going to play knight a3. I'm going to beat that grandmaster. You watch. Anyway, king f7.
They made one of the top moves in this position.
He played one of the top moves in the position. The best move was rook to b8. Have a look at White's position. White's not winning as dynamically as he thought he was. That's why that knight a3 move was so strong. Anyway, we played knight to d2. Oh, wait a second, we jumped ahead here. Bishop e3.
You are threatening to eventually win a pawn.
He played king f7.
They made one of the top moves in this position.
Then we played knight
d2.
to
eventually win a pawn.
Oh no, I played c4. Hold on. King f7. I played c4.
You are threatening to capture a pawn and win material after the follow-up.
So now I'm threatening pawn takes pawn to win a pawn. Okay. So he played b4.
It was an even game, but now you have the advantage.
So apparently the engine said that was an even game. So my opponent was playing really well. My opponent just got surprised at how well I was playing, I think. So I played knight to d2.
To eventually win a pawn.
Played bishop to
is now
e5.
A more active square.
And now I played rook a5 to b1. Star move, best move. And now I'm simply just threatening that pawn. So he played bishop d4. What move should he have played? He should have played bishop d7. There we go. So in this position here,
good job stepping in to defend your pawn.
He should play bishop here, threatening that pawn. Right? That's the best move. Okay. So he played bishop d4.
Good use of your time. That move, a clear recapture.
Took back, knight d file to b3, and now the knights are really deadly. Play bishop e6.
This move connects their rooks, giving them a stronger
Play
position.
rook takes d4. Knight takes is better. I thought rook takes d4 was a great move, but the engine says knight takes d4 is better. But we're still winning. If you have a look at the evaluation bar, rook takes d4 is a winning move. Rook h file to d8. So we doubled the rook.
Threatening to capture rooks.
Star move, best move. Rook takes.
Exchange pieces.
Rook takes.
Clear recapture.
Rook c8. Now he wants to play pawn here.
Forces into play.
Right. But we've got knight here.
This is the way.
And this is a star move. This is really powerful. White's pawns are on white squares, and the bishop can't move. It can't really move. It's got no space. That's why he played this move, trying to get a bit of activity for his bishop. But after f3, where does the bishop go? Played bishop h5. He should have went to e6, and then g4. We kicked his bishop. Bishop g6.
This move puts their bishop on a safer square.
And now we play king to
in the
f2.
Endgame, the king can become a fighting piece.
Not the best move, but a strong move. We're still winning easily, but b3, shoring up the pawns here with the idea of taking a pawn, it was the better move. h5.
They played the strongest move available.
The strongest move available. I played h3.
Nice, definitely the right move.
H takes
this is
g4.
A fair trade.
I recaptured. Played king h.
They played one of the best moves here.
Apparently, it's one of the best moves. Played
Good
f4.
Job. That's what I would have played too.
Star move, best move. Played king e8. Now, this is where I think I was wondering whether pawn here is the best move. Pawn here, right? I think pawn there is the best move. Let's have a look. I wasn't sure at the time. I played king f3.
Well done, an excellent move.
Oh, there you go, isn't it? Engine said I played a good move, but king e3 was better. Isn't it interesting? So I was wondering whether pawn there was better. He played bishop
Moving
g8.
your bishop to a better position.
And I played b3.
That pawn chain will help strengthen your pawn structure.
So now my pawn structure is pretty ginormous. Notice he's got what we call discombobulated pawns. That's right. These pawns, 1, 2, 3, it's a terrible, sad sight to see pawn structure like that. That's terrible pawn structure, isn't it? And we know that there's not much you can do. Oh, the engine's saying pawn here is a killer. Right? So I played b3. I should be playing pawn there. I suspected pawn there was a good move because it stops this knight idea and pawn here business. Anyway, he played knight g6.
He made one of the top moves in this position.
It's one of the top moves. Not the best move, but one of the top moves. King f8 was the top move, but it's an engine move. How do you find that? I played knight takes pawn.
For the taking.
Now, he can't attack the two knights because of knight takes pawn. Check, and he'd lose his castle, right? So he played knight.
They played one of the best moves here.
It's the only move. Isn't it terrible that that's one of the best moves? King g3.
You escaped the check from the knight.
And he played g5.
Defending their hanging knight.
And I just ignored his knight, right? Do you know the best move in this position is probably pawn here? His knight's totally trapped. So pawn here is a killer move, right? Anyway, I played, where is it, g5. I played knight c6.
This move makes your knight
see, I was right. The engine's got the arrow. Can you see the arrow there? Can you see the arrow? I was right. Pawn there is the best move. Let's have a look.
Defending their hanging
So
knight.
when the pawn goes here, this knight can't go here, can't go there, and it can't come back. So the knight's totally dead, okay? And with the knight not being able to move, his castle can never even grab the H file, right? So that's why pawn here is a knockout, right? Okay, but we didn't play that. We played, we played something silly. Oh, not really silly, but knight c6,
This move makes
knight g6.
Precise move from your opponent.
Then, now I played f5.
Nice. You found a way to win a pawn.
It is the best move. He played knight
They are
f4.
threatening to win material through a fork.
He's now threatening knight check and knight takes rook. So I played Played knight f4. Where is it? King
You
f3.
stopped your opponent from being able to win
Best
material through
move.
a fork.
Played bishop
Their bishop is now more
f7.
active on this square.
Right. His position's that bad that the engine says put your bishop here. Isn't that terrible? When your position's so bad, the engine says you better give up a piece, right? Okay, but he played bishop f7. So I played knight takes
You
pawn.
captured that free pawn.
Played king
They are
f8.
right on target.
And now I played a5.
Passed
I'm going
pawn
for a
must be
queen. Bishop
Moving their
e8.
bishop to a better position.
Just keep pushing that
Your
pawn.
passed pawn advances to its goal.
Play rook
They've
a8.
improved the positioning of their piece.
So we just push the
Your
pawn
opponent has to
again.
watch that passed pawn.
He played knight h3.
I like their choice.
But there's no moves for him. So I played rook to d8.
This wins a rook.
It's it's a knockout move, right? He played rook
They
takes
exchange
d8.
pieces of equal value.
I played knight takes
recaptured
d8,
the piece.
and now he can't stop the queen. And he should resign here, but he did play
You
king
get a chance to
e7.
eventually win material.
And I just made a
Your pawn made
queen.
it to the promotion square.
Wasn't that really a very simple game with virtually no risk? So why don't you choose the Exchange Lopez and play like a grandmaster? Play like me. There we go. Maybe if I study this opening just a little bit more, I could start playing at grandmaster strength in the Exchange Lopez. And that would be a great weapon, right? A great weapon to use against grandmasters, right? If you run into a grandmaster, I think I've beaten about 80 grandmasters or something. So if you run into, I would like to get to 100 before I kick the bucket. Yeah, yeah, I'd like to beat 100 grandmasters before I kick the bucket. But I'm not playing in Late Title Tuesday, guys. Arsenal fan Richie Archer. Yes, I'm not playing in the... But this Knights on the Rim is dim, that's correct. Or Knight on the side of the board brings fire and disaster and everything, that's correct. But in this Exchange Lopez, it's an exception to the rule, okay? It's an exception to the rule. But you are right, there's a general chess rule. It's a general chess rule that a knight on the side of the board is usually not that great, right? Because it hasn't got the same sphere of influence, right, as a knight in the central part of the board. So you're quite right, Arsenal fan Richie. Richie Archer. Yeah. Portal Chess. Raising Arizona says the knight on a3 and a5 will move left and reappear on the right side of the board. This is called Portal Chess. You crazy guy. Arsenal fan Richie says a4 is often good or always good, not always good in Spanish. Here we go. So we've got some opening theorists in our channel. Raising Arizona is, well, everyone knows he's one of the greatest players that's ever lived. And he told me that. I believe everything he says. And Hatch Halo's here. Gives me a little bit of a Hikaru wave. And Raising Arizona said chess.com should use the David Attenborough voice for game analysis. It would be like a lion hunting its prey. I think that's a good idea, Raising Arizona. We should suggest it to them, right, to use the David Attenborough. Hold on, here it goes. I'm not very good at this. I'll try, hold on. I can't resist it. And here we have the lion stalking its prey. And he's not sure what to do. The grass is very thick, as you can see on the king's side. How's that go? Is that anything like David Attenborough? No, it's not, is it? No. very hard to repeat, right? David Attenborough. But we could do David Attenborough now. I'll tell you what, we were talking earlier about the Exchange Lopez, right? So what we should really do is have a look at one of Bobby Fischer's games, Exchange Lopez. What we're going to do is we're going to go into File, New tab. I want to go into chessgames.com, I think because it's easier to find. And I'm going to type in Bobby Fischer. Exchange Lopez games. There it is. I like to have a look at the Bobby Fischer's top weapon. King Crusher talks about it. When King Crusher put it on, I wonder what game he looked at. Fischer versus Spassky, 1992, Ruy Lopez. Okay, so Fischer versus Spassky, Exchange Lopez variation. It's Fischer versus Gligorich and Fischer versus Spassky. Have a look at this game. 21 moves. He beat Boris Spassky in 21 moves in the Gligorich variation. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to have a look at this. This is Bobby Fischer versus Boris Spassky, the $5 million man. Fischer Spassky, 1992. Zveti Stefan, Belgrade, Yugoslavia, round 9, September 16. It's a Spanish game, Exchange Gligorich variation. And you might say, oh, some of you young guys, Gligorich? What's Gligorich? It's not licorice, it's Gligorich, right? Gligorich. Gligorich was one of the greatest players that's ever produced by, or the greatest player ever produced by Yugoslavia, the old Yugoslavia. And he won the Yugoslav Chess Championship so many times. It was unbelievable. I don't think many players around the world would have won their national championship as many times as Gligorich in Yugoslavia. There was one player that did also win quite a few championships in Yugoslavia, and that was Boris Ivkov, Grandmaster Boris Ivkov. Just to let you know that, right? Here we go. Right, E4 is played. Right, E4. Boris Spassky plays E5. And remember, we're looking at the Exchange Lopez, and you saw one of my games earlier where I played at 95, 96% accuracy. Knight F3 is played, Knight C6, Bishop to B5, the mark of the Ruy Lopez, right? And now A6, right? Bishop takes knight, pawn takes, and now castles, right? F6 is played, and now white chooses D4. E takes D4, knight takes D4, and now C5 is played. I think this move is not good. I think against best play, this move is probably equality at absolute best. Knight to B3. The problem that Black's got, and as I explained in my game earlier on, problem Black's got here is this bad pawn configuration. I was trying to do a arrows, but I can't do it. So I'll just have to talk it through. Queen takes, rook takes, and now bishop hits castle, played by Boris Spassky. This can't be a good move. F3 is played, now the bishop's got a problem. Where does the bishop go? Well, bishop E3. White played knight to C3, And it's just a good developing move and threatens to gain a square. Black played bishop d6, and now, really, this is where it starts happening. Bishop e3, straight on the pawn. As you can see, there's a problem with that pawn structure. b6, the only move, and what a bad structure it is, isn't it? Now a5. Now the whole idea of this is to play pawn to, I can't do the arrow, pawn to a5. a4, a5. a5 is a massive threat, right? And now castles, and now here we go, pawn forwards, right? And now what do you do here? King g7 looks logical. He plays it, best move. But look at this move. Look at this move, pawn to e5. Now, one would ask, hold on a minute, folks. Hold on to your hats. This move is unbelievable. It creates a square for this knight on c3 to go to e4, right? Anyway, bishop, it moved back to e7. He didn't like it. You can't take, if you take with the pawn. Oh, if you take with the pawn, bishop takes pawn can be played. Or pawn takes pawn and bishop takes pawn. Oh, it's pretty nifty. Anyway, bishop e7 was played by Boris. Rook takes d8, bishop takes d8. So what Boris is trying to do is hunkering down here. Knight e4, he doesn't worry about the pawn. He wants to play knight takes pawn check. King c6 was played, and now pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. Now, here comes the kicker. Knight b file takes c5. The bishop went to c8 because there's nothing else to play. Knight takes a6. F takes e5, and now knight to b4 check. It's in this position. Boris Spassky just resigned. The position's so totally lost. It's not funny. The two knights are so dominant. Black's pawn position is shot to pieces. He's actually a pawn down already, and rook to a8. Rook to a8 will attack two bishops, and that'll be the end of the game. Can't play king to b7 because of knight checks. You can't even play king to c7 because of rook checks and rook takes pawn. Everything's just going to fall, collapse. Totally unplayable position. There's 21 moves in Exchange Lopez by the mighty, the one and only Bobby Fischer. Here we go. Okay. This one was closed, so. Right then, so if someone would like to give me a game from the chat, any of my subscribers, I'd love to play you. If you want a free subscription, you can get one free here.